Good morning!
Good morning!
Welcome to the Medicare Cafe pre-chat. You're joined by your host today. My name's Olivia Richardson.
And I'm Carrie Vogt.
And if you're watching the recorded version of this and you're just like, these people don't ever talk about Medicare or being an agent or selling, it's probably because you're watching the chat.
Yeah. Speed it ahead a few minutes.
We actually start talking about the good stuff at 10 a.m. So you have 3 minutes. So just fast forward 3 minutes and you're going to have a great time with it. But if you like some riffraff and just some chaos, then hang out with us for the next 3 minutes.
I walked in and Olivia had the red lights going. So she's just setting the mood for Valentine's Day.
See, you're giving me so much credit because I don't know how to do any of this.
Oh, Sadie taught me last week.
Okay.
I do know how to change those.
Well, so this is on you. Because we try to take a picture.
The key factor is knowing where the remote is, though, and that I don't know.
I don't know where the remote is at my house. I don't know where the remote is here.
No.
I have no control.
When is the Apple Watch going to figure out a remote dinger?
Listen.
How to sync your watch to your remote and your keys?
Listen, you have the only reason I use an Apple Watch.
It's for the dinger.
It's for the dinger to find my phone. But
me too.
I stopped wearing my Apple Watch. Like the tan line's almost gone into everything. Because I found myself not being, like, present. Like, I was constantly looking at my watch because I was just getting notifications.
You know what I do? Airplane mode all the time.
Oh, that's the way to do it.
All the time.
But I just caught myself doing that. And so I'd be talking to somebody and they'd be like, oh, like, you're obviously really busy. Like, I'm keeping you from something. I'm like, no, we're just talking. And like, well, you're just like... So that's a good idea.
Airplane mode. And it doesn't have the, like... Because, our cell phones are going to kill us. This has no, like, cell phone, like, juice.
Cell phone juice.
Going into my arm.
Okay.
Into my bloodstream.
So now you're convincing me that I need to do that. I need to purchase one.
So,
again.
Yeah, and
mine broke. Mine was like 4 or 5 years old and it like
But what's crazy, you can set different settings on your airplane mode. So like my airplane mode, you can either have it like, it can still mirror your phone if you want it to by Bluetooth.
Okay.
So like even though it's on airplane mode, I can still receive a call. I can't make an outgoing. So, like, if somebody needed to get a hold of me, I could still get it.
Okay.
Interesting.
What kind of iWatch? Apple Watch is
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
I had, like, the dated, like the first version of it. And to be fair,
I don't think this is a fancy one.
It lasted me a long time. I have a couple Apple Watches that are at the bottom of the Lake of the Ozarks.
Oh. Along with
phones,
dragons and people.
Yeah. Honestly. Nessie.
Nessie's down there.
If you ever want to hear a traumatic story about the Lake of the Ozarks, my husband and I, when we bought our boat that we have now, we've had our boat for, before we were married, so 8 or 9 years. But we bought it, and we literally witnessed somebody unalive themselves from our boat the first night we ever had it. And so, like, that was, like, a whole thing. If you ever want a traumatizing story, let us know. Let me know. I can tell you about the Lake of the Ozarks.
I want to hear that.
It was dark. It was bad. So, he was a boat racer. And so, it was the Lake of the Ozark. No one asked for this, but I'm going to tell anyone. It was the Lake of the Ozark shootout.
Okay.
And it's, like, the weekend of the boat races. It's a huge deal. It's every August. It's, like, a huge... huge thing that the lake does. Well, he was one of the people who was racing boats, but he was doing the shootout the night before, had a little bit too much to drink, and wrecked their boat right in front of the house we were staying at. It was nuts. And then my husband kind of being, because I was like this big boat I wasn't used to having, and I was like looking at the boat. He goes, "We don't have a back boat. Ours don't do that." So, on that note, guys, welcome to the Medicare Cafe. If you're fast forwarding it, sorry for hearing the tail end of that story. But it is 10 o'clock. Again, today we're going to be discussing growth via admins or downlines. And we're going to be talking about what is the pros and cons of either. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, threats, and or promises, feel a shoulder shimmy today.
I'm really happy for my admin growth.
My life has been... Yeah. I'm excited to get your input. And honestly, I'm excited to get your, like, perception of downlines. Like, what would it look like to, like, have somebody work under you? Like, they sell insurance under you. I'd be interested to know your perception of that.
I've thought about that. I just had to, like, a couple weeks ago, my, like, review with her, because she had just passed her year, been here a year, and I was like, because I wanted to check in with her to make sure she still wanted to be an admin.
Who is a Kansas City Chiefs cheerleader.
Oh, so she's going to the Super Bowl this weekend.
She's going to be a little busy this weekend again.
I'm so excited for her.
That's so cool. That's the coolest.
But I was like, you know, are you happy being basically my admin? Or if you ever want to be on your own or do this, become more of a downline.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, I'm really, the more I do this, the more I like doing it and don't want to do what you do.
We'll talk about that.
And she's realizing that.
Yeah, it's a big misconception that agents make is that they're like, let me hire a downline, or excuse me, let me hire an admin, train them while they're an admin, and then eventually work towards them becoming an agent. The personality types of somebody are so different. And so to make somebody who thrives in the helping and the supporting and kind of being the background figure is not the same personality that's going to thrive in a commissions-based position where it's you eat what you kill.
Yep.
But we'll talk about that.
Just like, there's obviously more income potential and more opportunities if you're a downline. An agent herself. Mm-hmm. And so I just like, you know, when she went into it, I was like, you have to tell me if you want that.
Yeah. The difference is that it depends on what people value, right? Salespeople, they drive off the eat what you kill. If I work harder, I'll make more money. Like if I take a couple weeks off, I'm going to not make anything those couple weeks. But like if I work hard, there's no limit, right? There's high risk, high reward. That's a salesperson you want on your team.
Yep.
An admin person says, I prefer comfort. I prefer stability, knowing that like I may not have the same ceiling that you have, but I also don't have the same floor that you have.
True.
Two very different personality types, craving steady versus craving potential. Mm-hmm. So let's get into it. And again, if you guys do have any questions, you can put in the live chat feature somewhere. I never know where to point. For me, it's right there, but it might be over there for
somewhere.
You. Live chat. Or you can text us. And I'm being told we can't hear us, lovely ladies. Terry.
Oh, no.
My bar is moving, telling me that we have sound. Is anybody else having sound troubles?
I feel like we would know by now,
Can you hear us? Well, I mean, Terry texted us right at 10. Terry, can you hear us now? I can hear you. Senior marketing specialist. Mom can hear us. Senior marketing specialist can hear us. Thanks, Mom. Okay. Well, we'll keep going then.
I can hear you, said Michelle.
Okay, thank you, Michelle.
Thank you.
Let's dig down into slide number 1. So it's just basically like, why is this even a question? You know, or growth by downline or growth by admin. And the question you have to ask yourself is exactly, how do you want to grow? What does growth look like for you? I work with a lot of agents that they say, my goal for 2024 is I want to have downline because I'm too busy. I'm having to turn away new clients. I don't even want referrals anymore. I'm way too busy. I need a downline. And that's not really the question. That's not really an answer to the question.
Yeah.
What you're asking for is you're asking for growth. You're asking for more resources. That comes in 2 ways. Do you want to grow by your own personal production going higher? Or do you want to grow by being able to take a step back from your own personal production having someone else grow? That's what it is.
That's a really good way to look at it.
So we're going to go over the pros and cons in each. There is no wrong answer. I just want to make sure you have the right expectations for what growth looks like depending on which way you go.
Yeah.
So let's get into pros. If you do decide to go the downline route, what are some positive things? Number 1, you automatically, if you have a downline agent under you, if you're an independent agent, you automatically qualify for higher level of contracts for most companies. A lot of companies, when again, the level of commission you get. So if you're making, a certain X percentage on an application, if you get a downline under you, even if like they never produce, you just having a downline, in a lot of cases, qualify you for getting a higher commission because the company is expecting you to take your override. It's called override. They're expecting you to take your override from that person writing business and from you writing business and reinvesting it into that agent. So you're basically taking responsibility of like growing that agent, and the carrier saying, we're going to help you with that, with giving you more production or more commission. So you oftentimes will automatically get, and just so you know, when it comes to like qualifying for trips, you can qualify for higher contracts, higher levels of commissions 2 ways. One, at the amount of downlines you have, or 2, the amount of production your agency has. So if you and your downline, or how many downlines you have, are producing at a higher level, you qualify for even higher levels of commissions, because they don't look at your personal production.
Does the downline qualify
They
too?
look at your agency production. We'll talk about that. That's called that's depending on how the agent, what level that the agent wants to put the downline at. Yeah. So again, you can make more money per sale if you have downlines and their production counts towards your qualifications. Also, you can be less dependent on your own production, which is nice. If you take a week off, you still have somebody out there selling policies, and you're getting, now your income from that is less when you are relying on a downline's production to kind of build your income. It's all about the quantity. They have to write a lot more because your override is a percent of, 2%. So you're working, you're betting that you're going to be working less, but with them producing, you're still making money on their production. Not as much money, but it's just a different type of way of making money. It's how agencies make money, it's how FMOs make money, so on and so forth.
Is there like a limit on how many downlines you can
have? There is not a limit on how many downlines you can have. We work with agencies like SBS. You guys have like 80-something agents. We work with agencies that have 2,000 agents. There's no limit on, the limit does not exist. You know the maybe new Mean Girls? It's a musical.
Oh, yeah. Where have you been hiding?
I'm upset. I'm upset. This is Lindsay Lohan's legacy that we're messing with, and I'm upset by it.
There's some shows that they should never remake. Like
Legally Blonde.
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter.
They should never remake Harry Potter. Because they will never find a better
Harry
Potter.
Never find a better Harry.
I'm glad we perfect.
Yes. And again, it does, if you're ever looking at like if you're ever looking at like selling your agency in the future, having a certain type of a downline agent does actually raise the value. You can sell your agency for more money if you have downline agents versus just focusing on your personal production.
So as you increase the number of downlines, does that keep increasing the commissions?
It can. Like, for example, some companies will say if you have one downline, you get an automatic bump. And every company is different, okay? So I don't want everybody to start calling FMO and being like, Olivia said, I get a higher level commission. Not what I'm talking about. Every company is different. But a lot of companies will say, you have one downline, let's go ahead and bump you up a commission level because you have more responsibility, which we're going to talk about in the cons. Other companies will say, okay, so now in order to get the next level of commission,
you have to add 5 more or something.
It usually is about 10 to 25 more.
Oh, my.
So the jump, it can be pretty significant.
Okay.
1 to 3 isn't going to get you anything.
Got it.
1 to 20 is going to get you something more. So, good to know.
Interesting.
The downside of having downlines. There you go, the cons. Your personal production will take a significant hit that first year. We typically see that hit range from about $5,000 to $15,000 of your personal production. And the reason...
Just because your time is spent?
Because you're less time in appointments, less time in your normal money-making activity. Sometimes in order to get that person started, you're handing off some of your clients, you're handing off some of your leads to keep them motivated, to keep them driven. So you're putting a lot of resources into somebody, which is taking you out of your personal production.
Okay.
Now, and we say that that's about like a per agent situation too. So if you're bringing on more agents at once, which can be profitable because you're training a group, not a one-on-one situation. So if you're bringing on multiple agents at once, your personal production can decrease by, much more than that. So, and again, it's just because of the resources you're dedicating to them.
Right.
Oh my goodness, I can't figure out these slides. Remind me next time I'm on slide 3. Okay. You also have less control of your income. We see this happen all the time. You bring on a new agent, they're excited about the opportunity, you're a salesperson. So of course you're going to sell what it's like to be an agent, but maybe their expectations aren't met. They're not as good as it as they thought. They're not having the quick start. Keep in mind, like, an agent in their first year is lucky to make 10 to 20 grand their first year of being an agent.
Yes.
And so, like, maybe they can't survive on that, or maybe they're just really bad at this. So you have less control of your income because instead of going out and making your own money, you're investing your time into somebody that may not even work out. So just less control. Or you can be like, you need to be selling more annuities. You need to be selling more final expense. Those are high profit plans. And they can be like, no, I only want to sell PDPs. That's all I want to do.
Said no one ever.
Well, maybe your downline will. So just keep that in mind. It also
3, Olivia.
Oh my
3.
God, you had one job period. It was to keep me in line.
You did it too fast. I wasn't watching.
Also imagine that you're probably going to be spending more time, more money, more resources on something like this, on somebody like this, because again, you have to give them a reason to stay. You have to show them, you have to help them with their leads. You have to help them with technology. If you're not providing it for them, you need to come up with resources for them. Because keep in mind, your downline agents are likely getting recruited every single day.
Man, and that next bullet is that you could do all of that work and they're just going to leave you.
And it happens all the time.
Yeah,
I mean,
hard.
again, I know SBS, you guys have an impressive retention for your agents. And I think that we were really excited that retention was 60-something% of
Really?
people. And the amount of people who make it after their first year was 30%. And they're pumped about that.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's high risk, high reward. If you get a good downline agent, and you can build, and one downline agent isn't going to make much of a difference. You probably, it's not going to make much of it. It's not going to make up for your income, right? So if you're going to grow by adding downlines, you need to have more than one.
So do you see most people adding downlines when they are trying to get out of the business?
That's when you're ready to take a coaching role and a mentor role and you're done with the day-to-day writing business, start adding downlines.
Okay.
Unfortunately, what I see is people do exactly that. I'm so busy. I'm turning away clients. I need somebody to work these clients that I'm having to turn down because I'm too busy. People oftentimes will hire a downline there because it makes sense, but they're not prepared for the fact that I have even less time, at least initially starting out, because I'm training somebody that's not as good as I am.
Yep.
No one can sell as good as I can. I'm teaching somebody to try to be me, and I'm frustrated with the performance in my downline.
Yeah, that's hard. And just it's so hard, releasing the control. Releasing stuff. The control.
And that's either a downline or admin.
Yes, it is.
Either.
It is.
But just being able to say, they're not going to do it the same as me. I could probably do it better. But if I want to hit my goals, I have to outsource this.
Yep.
And that's when we're going to get into the admin talk. But I do. If you're going to go the downline route, it's likely that you're trying to step away from your production and focus on the production of others, and kind of what I call building an empire. Yeah. Right? You're building trying to grow others and support others, which ultimately fills your pockets as well. Am I ready for 4?
Okay. We're going on to 4.
Let's get into the pros of adding an admin team. You went this route, and I know a lot of this stuff is exactly why you did it, but I think the number one reason why it's ideal to add a downline or an administrative person is to take off your busy work. I'm talking about filing claims, managing your calendar,
thank you notes,
birthday cards,
social posts.
Yeah, tell me what your admin does for you.
I mean, everything that you just said, but one of the biggest reasons why I needed one is as I still only work physically in the office 10 to 15 hours a week.
That's nuts.
And so when I'm working, I am almost in back-to-back meetings the whole time. And so when I'm not working or when I'm just busy in meetings, I need somebody for those other 25 hours a week to be helping me with calls and returning calls and scheduling, because I don't want it to go 48 hours or 3 days before I get back to somebody.
Yeah.
So that was huge for me. But I mean, she does so much stuff for me. She keeps me organized, does thank you notes, return calls, scheduling, all of the busy work. And I don't really even like that term because I just feel like that's
important.
It is.
It really does.
It just sounds so bad.
The importance,
but it is so important because she lets me be a better agent.
I think the better way to put that is you can pass off non-money making activities.
Yes.
You as an agent, busy work is not the word, because the busy work makes it sound like it's busy for the sake of being busy. No, it's important stuff that has to get done, but it doesn't make you money. It keeps you money.
Exactly.
It keeps you getting paid because it keeps the retention and it's important, but it doesn't build anything.
It's like little bitty, like it might take me 5 minutes to do something, but it's 20 of those 5-minute activities.
Yeah.
Like this morning, I texted her and I said, hey, I just set up a Zoom meeting with so-and-so next week. Can you create the link and send it to him? Perfect. That saved me like 5 minutes.
Plus, it does also kind of like elevate you when you can say like my assistant, my admin person, somebody other than me will be doing this for you. It does kind of, it puts you in an elevated position that you're successful enough to have somebody working on your behalf, working for you.
Yep.
But again, anything that when you are somebody that you are like, I'm too busy doing seminars, I'm too busy answering the phone, I'm too busy helping my clients, I cannot grow because my client base is too big and I can't support it anymore, you're looking for an admin person.
Yep.
We typically recommend people actually start to at least talk about and start looking at adding an admin between like 300 to 500 clients, because that's whenever we kind of start to see that like your day, if you're working 40 hours a day, we'll just say, no, none of us do
40 hours a day.
Yeah, an hour a week, a year. If you're working a full week, we'll just say whatever a full week means to you. If you're working a full week, then we typically see that 3 to 5 is where people start to benefit from that, because you're too busy managing your book of business that you can't do more money-making activities. So keeping that in mind.
I'm curious, so how many admins are remote? Like,
that's a great question.
Mine has literally never been in the office.
Yeah. I think it depends on your style as an agency. It's much more difficult to have, which you do. You have an office that like your people come into you. And you don't like have a receptionist. You don't have somebody that's there that's like, what I like to, it just depends. There's no wrong answer. If you're just going to have like a part-time person, like yours is part-time. They don't work a full 40-hour day. If you're going to have somebody that's part-time, it probably would be more beneficial for you to do it remote. But if you want somebody that's like fully integrated with the client process and you do have an office, there is a huge reason to have somebody in office to be a receptionist. And that's because if you have a receptionist, they're able to really focus on the client experience in the waiting room. Your client experience doesn't start at the appointment. The client experience talks in their first interaction with you.
For sure.
That's including your waiting room. And so to have somebody there that's really focused on getting them the tea, making sure they have coffee, making sure that your people feel welcomed, you know, that is absolutely worth the investment if your office works that way.
Right.
But if you have somebody that's not full-time, that means they're not going to be there consistently when your clients are there. And so, like, the inconsistency can be hurtful for your brand as well.
Yep.
That's my opinion. I've not done research on that. That's just my opinion.
I agree completely.
Consistency is going to be key there. So whatever is best for you and your agency, there's no wrong answer. We do have a video on our university that goes into how to manage a remote staff person.
Oh, interesting.
It was made by Will Pierce, who is remote. You guys may never know that. If you guys work with Will Pierce, he's been with our company for like 6 years, I think, a long time. But he is remote. He lives in Iowa and we're in Columbia. You may never know. We can talk about what it looks like to have a remote system.
We could not function without our shared to-do list on OneNote.
Yeah, you guys are a big OneNote fan.
Oh my gosh. I don't know how I couldn't have her without that. Like, I don't even know how we would work.
Yeah. That's good to know. Maybe we should do that one time of like, we did this one time before, like apps that we use, services that we use. Sadie actually recommended
airplane mode on Apple Watch.
See, like, I'm just learning so much.
5? We're on 5.
We're on 5. I did it that time. You scolded me. I learned. Cons. What's it look like when you do have an admin? Just make sure. I actually learned this on Shark Tank. If you're going to incorporate something or spend money on something in your office, in your business, tell me how you're going to make that money back. Tell me, like, I want the math of, like, if you're going to spend
it's good
$30,000 a year on an admin team or $50,000, right? If you're going to spend that much money, have a plan where does that money, where do you make that money back? And just understanding that, like, you do, even though, like, you should be able to make more money because you're spending your time on more money-making activities, but making sure you have a plan to compensate your person. And understanding that, like, you have to have, I'll say it like this, you have to have a benefit package that is enticing, and understanding that people are motivated different ways. Some people are motivated by, I want to make as much money as I possibly can. If they're that way, they probably need to be a salesperson, not an admin.
Some people are motivated to have the flexibility to work from home.
Yeah, they want to work from home.
Yep.
They want to be able to go to their kids' recital.
Yep.
They want to, things like that. Some people want to have, like, great health insurance.
Yeah.
And that's really important to them.
Yeah.
So you have to, again, you need to make sure, like, you don't need to cater to the person, but you need to decide what your value add is going to be as their boss. Also, something that's kind of weird. Gotta put on your boss hat.
That was I've struggled with that because my assistant is also my younger cousin.
Yeah. And she's cheerleader, if I didn't say that before. When I met her at the Christmas party, I, like, swooned. I was like, oh my God, she's famous. Sorry, go ahead. But yes, putting on your boss hat's hard.
Yeah, especially when you're, like, related. Even if we weren't. It's just, and I think what I struggle with most is the release, like I said.
Firing is hard.
Of control. Well, of control.
Oh, okay. Release of her. That would be hard.
Not release of her, yes. I hope I never have to do that.
Being a control freak, yeah.
Yeah, because there's so many things that you do, that are second nature to you. I mean, you just do it habitually. And to, like, let some of those things go is so hard.
Well, you're paying somebody and doing your job.
But you just have to do it, and then literally she does it way better than I did.
That's something that I'm finding. It's that, like, wow, I'm in the way a lot.
Yeah.
Like, if I just step out of the way.
I'm in my own way.
I need to outsource the things I'm very bad at, like setting up the studio and technology, and let people who are good at this do it because I'm in the way, right? That's a hard thing to say.
One of the smallest things for me, so she, like, actually posts all of my social media. I just send her the pictures.
Yeah.
And I used to, when she first started, is I was like, okay, I would write out the captions on all of this.
Yeah.
And then I just started sending her the pictures, and she is a million times better at writing the captions.
She's a chief cheerleader.
And
of course she is.
Doing the hashtags and creating the Canva graphics, like all of that stuff. And so I'm like, just here.
So I actually here's
the content, you make it.
I actually created the video department of senior marketing specialist.
Oh.
So, like, all the stuff that you're looking at me and like, oh, she's bad at this. I developed the video team. And I taught myself video editing. I taught myself film, everything.
Well, look at this. All this is because of you.
If you look back at our content from, like, 2018, 2019, 2020, and if you look at what we're posting daily now, you're just like, girl, I can tell.
Oh, brother.
You went to Hooked on Phonics for video editing, for videoing, and now we have Alex and Sadie who are just, like, incredible. And that was something like, you got to be okay with, like, taking it. Like, you built this. Yes, you are, of course, this is your baby. Of course you're going to be proud of this. But, like, is it making you money? No, posting on Facebook doesn't make you money. It helps.
Yep.
Doesn't make you money. You don't get paid for that. You get paid for taking applications.
Another small thing that I let the reins go, and she did a million times better, is after we sign somebody up, I send, like, a summary email to them. Just saying, reiterating their plan name, premium, when their auto draft date is.
Which, by the way, I highly recommend everybody do that because it's the number one way to get rid of buyer's remorse. If you ever have somebody call and, like, never mind, I'm going to stay with my current plan, it's because of buyer's remorse. That's a great way to fight that.
Yeah. And it alleviates, like, did I do auto pay? Did I do direct bill? Am I going to get a bill? All of that. And so I would just, like, type out in an email. And I had Jaden start doing those. And she was like, she made a, like, PDF, like, pretty branded graphic of Canva that's, like, it says MedSup, and then she just fills it in. It says PDP, and she just fills it in. And I'm like, and so now she just fills those out and sends this beautiful attachment.
I love it. That's the coolest.
With, like, links to my Facebook and
wow,
like,
incredible retention tool. That's incredible.
Yep, love it.
I do say put on the boss hat for a lot of those reasons. Sometimes every conversation isn't going to be a fun conversation, and understanding that what made you, let me say it like this, what made you a really successful agent is not what makes a really great boss. Those two are, the two things there are completely different skills, different mindset, different everything. So you have to put away your agent hat and put on your leader hat, put on your boss hat, and understand that, like, that's probably a skill that you need to work on. Because I'll say it like this. Salespeople tend to not be the greatest managers because you guys are go, go, go. I wanted this. I need this. This is in the way. And being a boss is, no, I need to get them on their level. They don't need to get on my level. I need to get on their level. I need to communicate the way that they want to communicate. Am I making expectations clear? And looking in the mirror in a lot of that.
For me, one of the biggest, like, boss hat things is the feedback. Like, I appreciate good and bad feedback so much. And so, like, I try to give as much of that to her, positive and negative feedback. I feel like bosses should do that.
They should do that, but it's all about how they want to hear the feedback. For example, Ben on my team, who I'm sure is watching this, Ben on my team, if I give him positive feedback, it makes him very uncomfortable. He wants to be told how to improve. So me, that I'm like, no, I love this, I love that. It's hard for me to focus on the hard stuff. But that's what he wants to hear. Yeah. Compared to, another team member
that's my husband.
Yeah. It makes him uncomfortable. Don't waste my time on the good. Tell me what I need to work on. Based on other people who, like, if you
only give them the bad.
Well, if you give them any bad, they tend to, like, really focus on that and won't hear the good, and, like, that's what they hear. So you got to learn how they accept feedback. You have to give them feedback, but learning how they accept that feedback is a huge portion of being a good manager. I'll let you know when I figure it out. And then we've kind of talked about the learning curve. It's hard. What we do is hard. And understanding and giving the grace of, like, they're not going to pick it up immediately. And that's both for being an agent and for being an admin.
Lingo especially. Man, there's a lot of lingos. And, yeah. And then, like, the best advice I ever got as a manager was actually, like, you don't have to be good at hiring, but you need to be good at firing. And that's because people know how to do their best. Your people are trained on how to do a good interview. People are their best. They show their best. You don't actually know somebody until you see them work and they're in their second, third, fourth week of being with you. You are never going to be good at hiring, but you got to be good at firing. It's not fun. That would not be fun.
No, it's not a fun conversation to have.
I kind of just glazed over that because my last assistant, like, I knew it was just like a part-time job until she graduated. But I'm really glad she graduated because if she had not been,
it was like the expectation.
I would have had to fire her, and I didn't have to. So I'm glad I didn't have to experience that.
Yeah,
I don't know if I would be good at it.
I've had to fire a few people, and I've never had, like, we need to call security, this is going to go bad. My advice to you is that if you are going to go through a process of, again, I've managed, the team that I have right now is a team of 13. I've managed a lot of people. My recommendation when it comes to, like, are we getting to that point, is that it should not be a surprise to them that they're getting fired.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and that's something that, like, if they're surprised, you did not do your job right as their manager, and you did not give them the feedback and the opportunity to improve. So if someone's getting fired and they're shocked by this, you need to reflect on how you handle that situation.
That's really good. That's really good insight.
I'm
going to remember that one.
Yeah. Guys, that's it. That's what we have today for the Medicare Cafe. Talking about slide
9.
Slides 6, 7, and 8 are blank. They know me. They're like, this girl, she can read, she can't direct. And even sometimes I don't even know. That's what we have. Any questions, comments, concerns, that's a promise? Anything that was surprising to you from this side of it, knowing both options?
Not surprising, just that I made the right choice. And I'm curious how, as I grow, like, eventually I would need a downline, I feel like.
I think it is.
I mean, everybody does when you get to a certain number, I feel like.
It depends on how you wanna see that. There's only
nobody
so many
can, like,
be
a good agent with 1,000 clients.
Oh, I'll tell you what.
You know what I mean? Like, nobody can be good.
We have an agency in Joplin, Missouri, that he's currently working with a book of business of over 10,000 clients.
Just him?
Just him. And he has
to be terrible.
No, he is our top agent.
Or he has to be a robot.
No, maybe that. His clients love him. He's in Joplin, and they drive literally hundreds of miles to see him. And his office
I'm
during
curious
AEP,
what his retention rate is.
very high.
What?
He's opened his books to us and said, help me. I don't know how to grow. I am max capacity. And we're like, well, yeah, you're at 10,000 clients. He has admin team.
Oh, okay.
He has 3 admin.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, and to be fair, some of those admin do write some of the business for him.
Okay.
But every new client meets with him first.
That's nuts.
Yes. So you can absolutely do it. It just depends on, are your systems and processes, are they smooth? Are they running flawlessly? Can they grow? Can they change? It's systems and processes, if inefficiencies of those systems and processes will conquer the world. If somebody can figure out how to be 100% efficient, they will rule the world, and I will gladly follow.
Yep. And he must not have children.
No. Well, he has like 6 kids.
Oh my gosh.
Every single year they go on a trip.
Who is this man?
I love him so much. And every single year, actually his admin team may be on today. Hello from to Joplin if you are. But yeah, he has like 5 or 6 kids. They go to his idea. He qualifies for every single carrier trip out there.
Sure.
So they'll go to Japan. He went to Hawaii because of dental vision hearing. He wrote enough dental vision hearing with Mutual of Omaha to qualify for the Hawaii trip last year. All on DVH. He's incredible. But yeah, his idea, they bought a camper and RV, and they go everywhere as a family in this RV. And yeah, he actually just had his first little grandbaby.
He sounds wonderful, and also like a robot unicorn.
I'll introduce you. Okay. He's a really cool guy.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments, concerns, sets, or promises? I don't see any. So I think we'll wrap up. We're 3 minutes over. But I think it was worth it.
It was good.
I had a great time.
I had a great time.
This is not for you. This is for me. I had a great time.
I had a great time.
All right, guys. So we'll see you next Tuesday, 10 a.m. Make sure you join us on our Medicare Cafe group for agents. We get on there and post cool stuff pretty regularly, connect and network with other agents. But appreciate you guys for hanging out with us today.
Have a good day.
All right. So until next time, have fun,
make money,
and give impeccable service. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.